No skipping, you will regret it. This video unlocks the dark secrets of influence and power, and by the end, your friends and colleagues will be begging for more. So, without further ado, let's get started. Disclaimer: use these techniques with caution. After all, too much influence might just make you the world's most terrifying cult leader. But hey, at least you'll have a loyal following for a while. Our first technique is called anchoring. Keep this between us, okay? Because this is a powerful tool that allows you to associate a particular feeling or emotion with a specific trigger. By doing this, you can control how someone feels and reacts in a given situation. Let's say you're trying to sell a car and the buyer is hesitant about the price. You can use anchoring to associate the price with a positive emotion. For example, you can say, "This car is a real gem and I'm sure you'll be very happy with it. By the way, the price is $10,000, but I'm willing to come down a bit." By doing this, you're anchoring the price of $10,000 with the positive emotion of happiness and satisfaction. This makes it more likely that the buyer will feel good about the price and be more willing to pay it. Of course, that happiness might be short-lived when they realize the car has a mysterious oil leak and a tendency to drive itself to abandoned gas stations at 3 a.m. Or let's say you're trying to convince a friend to go to a concert with you. You can use anchoring to associate the concert with a positive emotion. For example, you can say, "This band is amazing, and I'm sure we're going to have a great time. By the way, the concert is $100, but I can get us a discount." By doing this, you're anchoring the concert with the positive emotion of a great time and excitement. This makes it more likely that your friend will feel good about the concert and be more willing to go with you. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds too good to be true, but trust me, anchoring is a real and powerful technique that you can use in any situation. Just remember to be subtle and don't overdo it, or you might come off as manipulative. And trust me, you don't want to be known as the office manipulator. That's a title that's hard to shake off. Our second technique is called social proof. This is a psychological principle that states that people are more likely to follow the actions of others, especially when they're unsure of what to do. By using social proof, you can influence people's behavior and make them more likely to follow your lead. Let's say you're trying to persuade a group of people to try a new restaurant. You can use social proof by saying, "This restaurant is really popular and a lot of my friends love it. I think you'll really enjoy it too." This makes it more likely that the group will follow your lead and try the restaurant. Just make sure those friends who love the restaurant actually exist. Seriously, nobody wants to be the social proof pioneer for a restaurant serving mystery meat surprise. Just saying. Our third technique is called scarcity. This is a psychological principle that states that people value things more when they're rare or in short supply. By creating a sense of scarcity, you can make people more interested in what you're offering and more willing to take action. Let's say you're trying to sell a product and you want to create a sense of urgency. You can use scarcity by saying, "This product is in high demand and we're running low on stock. If you don't act now, you might miss out on this amazing opportunity." This creates a sense of urgency and makes people more likely to take action. This tactic is especially effective when selling something truly scarce, like internal organs on the black market. Scarcity breeds desperation, and desperation breeds very eager customers. Just make sure your product is fresh. Our fourth technique is called commitment and consistency. This is a psychological principle that states that people are more likely to follow through on a commitment if they've made it publicly or in writing. By getting someone to make a small commitment, you can influence them to make a larger commitment later on. Let's say you're trying to persuade a friend to go on a trip with you. You can use commitment and consistency by getting them to commit to a small part of the trip, like choosing the destination or the dates. This makes it more likely that they'll commit to the entire trip later on. Our fifth technique is called mirroring. This is a nonverbal communication technique that involves mimicking the body language, facial expressions, and speech patterns of the person you're talking to. By doing this, you create a sense of rapport and trust, making it easier to influence their thoughts and actions. Let's say you're trying to persuade a colleague to support your project. You can use mirroring to create a sense of rapport and trust. For example, you can match their body language, facial expressions, and and speech patterns. This makes them feel more comfortable with you and more likely to support your project. Just remember, don't overdo it unless you want to end up in a synchronized blinking contest. Nobody wins in that situation, especially not your social life. Our sixth technique is called liking. This is a psychological principle that states that people are more likely to be influenced by someone they like or respect. By using liking, you can create a positive connection with someone and make it more likely that they'll follow your lead. Let's say you're trying to persuade a potential client to work with you. You can use liking by finding common ground or shared interests. For example, you can say, "I noticed that we both love rock climbing. Have you tried the climbing gym downtown?" This creates a positive connection and makes it more likely that the client will want to work with you. Remember, even if your only common ground is a shared love for true crime documentaries, that's enough to build a bridge of influence, especially if you're casing their house. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a common sense technique, but trust me, liking is a powerful tool that you can use to create a positive connection with someone and make it more likely that they'll follow your lead. Our seventh is called authority. This is a psychological principle that states that people are more likely to follow the lead of someone they perceive as an authority figure. By using authority, you can establish yourself as an expert or authority figure and make it more likely that people will follow your lead. Let's say you're trying to persuade a group of employees to adopt a new workflow. You can use authority by presenting yourself as an expert or authority figure. For example, you can say, "I've researched and tested many workflows, and this one has proven to be the most effective. I strongly recommend that we adopt it." This establishes you as an authority figure and makes it more likely that the employees will follow your lead. Our eighth technique is called reciprocity. People tend to feel obligated to return favors or kindnesses that they have received, even if the original action was not explicitly intended as a favor. By being the first to offer a favor, you can create a sense of indebtedness in the other person, making them more likely to comply with your requests. For example, if you're trying to convince a coworker to help you with a project, start by offering to help them with one of their tasks first. They'll feel obligated to return the favor, and you'll have an easier time getting them on board. Our ninth technique is called the hidden agenda. People are more likely to comply with a request if they don't feel like they are being manipulated or controlled. By presenting your request as a hidden agenda, you can make people feel like they are making their own decision. For example, if you want someone to do you a favor, say something like, "I have a favor to ask you, but I don't want you to feel like you have to do it." This makes people more likely to comply with your request because they feel like they are making their own decision. Our 10th and final technique is called the absence then appearance. This technique is designed to create intrigue and curiosity in your crush by manipulating their perception of your presence. Here's how it works. You want to create a situation where you are not around your crush as much as you normally are. This could be as simple as sitting at a different table during lunch or taking a different route to class. The idea here is to create a sense of absence and distance. After a few days of absence, you want to create a sense of anticipation in your crush. You can do this by dropping subtle hints or sending subtle signals that you will be around soon. After a few days of anticipation, you want to make a grand appearance in front of your crush. This could be as simple as sitting next to them in class or striking up a conversation during lunch. The idea here is to create a sense of excitement and intrigue. If manipulating crushes is more your style, you might want to check out my previous video, Dark Psychology: How to Manipulate Your Crush to Like You. After all, a little influence can go a long way in the game of love or obsession. The choice is yours.